Hey, I'm Madison Mary and welcome back to my channel. Today I have the end of year book tag. So the end of year book tag is probably meant to be filmed more in like September or October, but it's November and I'm filming it, so it's fine. The point of this book tag is to kind of go through these questions to decide what you need to do before this year ends. And you know what, considering how much of, just a shit show 2020 has been, it's actually gone by weirdly fast. And I think that's just because 2020 feels like just an amalgamation of bleh. Anyway, this book tag was created a couple of years ago by Ariel from Ariel Bissett, and I just saw that Kayla from Books and Lala just posted hers, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do mine too because I think it'd be fun. So there are like a couple of questions. I haven't like thought this out yet, and I thought that'd kind of be a bit more fun to kind of just speak with you guys and just talk about, what's going on. So the first question is, are there any books you've started this year that you need to finish? So I don't tend to like start a book and then DNF it with the plan to come back to it. If I DNF a book, it's DNF'd. I am currently reading a book, and this is just the dust jacket. And I Darkened by Kiersten White. I'm currently reading this, and it's fine so far. It is a 5-star prediction that I think I failed once again, unless something happens in like the next 60% of this book. Like I'm only 30% into it, so I really can't be judgmental, but it's definitely more history driven than I thought it was going to be. And then technically I did start, what's it called? The Goal by Elle Kennedy. That is the 4th book in the Off Campus series. I did technically start like the first chapter of it and didn't continue because I just wasn't in the mood. So I guess technically I do need to finish that. It isn't even like on my Goodreads as like currently reading. I just took it off because I didn't really know I was going to be around to it. It does have the accidental pregnancy trope in it, which I'm not the biggest fan of ever. Like I really tend to hate it, so that's the reason why I haven't read it yet, but maybe I'll pick it up in December. We'll see. I don't really think I will. And then the second prompt is, do you have an autumnal book to transition with into the end of the year? Now, I don't really know what an autumnal book would be in this sense, but I do feel like maybe I have on my TV on the month for November Harvest of Sighs by Sierra Simone, and this does take place during Samhain, and so I'm thinking that it would be considered a autumnal transition because it is kind of set during the autumnal months, so that would work as a transition. I'm also reading Math in November, and that is kind of wintry because, we have it set during the winter solstice, so that could also be a potential read. So those are my 2 personal autumnal transitional books, but if I had to pick one for other people to use as a transition, Small Spaces by Catherine Arden. I just read this. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It is a middle grade horror, and I think that it's lighthearted enough to kind of be a transition book, but it is got that creepy kind of autumnal vibes to it that I think it would be perfect during this time of year. Plus it's a really quick read. It's only a little over 200 pages, so there's my recommendation. Then we have, is there a new release you're still waiting for? Yes. So it's called How the King of Elfhame Learned Hate Stories. This is considered book 3.5 in the Folk of the Air trilogy, which is this series here by Holly Black. And I'm very excited. It's supposed to come out at the end of November, I think the 24th if I'm correct. And it is kind of just a culmination of short stories to do with Cardan. I think it takes place both before, during, and after the events of the trilogy, which is really excited. I'm so pumped for it. I ordered 2 different copies. I have the Barnes & Noble's exclusive edition coming and then the Illumicrate edition coming because I need multiple copies. I have 3 copies of this series, if you guys can't tell from behind me. These are the Barnes & Noble's editions, the black ones, and then this here is the Illumicrate editions, and then next to it are the regular white editions, which are normal. So, I don't know. I collect multiple editions of books. It's just who I am as a person. Then we have, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? I'm not going to include Akamath or Akowar in this just because those are compulsory books that I'm reading for my read along, but 3 books that I need to get read by the end of this year. I really want to read, where is it? I know I keep it right next to me. I want to read The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. My plan is to read this sneak peek in December. It is, This is the copy that my dad and I bought back in 2009. So it has that really lovely like old book smell, and it even has like, you know, the colors of the edges are different, and I'm just so excited to read this because my dad and my brother both love it and have been trying to get me to read it for years. And then I joined BookTube and everyone seems to have read this book, so I'm like, oh, I want to read it now too. Like, it gave me the final push, so I'm excited to read this. It's just I'm a little nervous to be throwing this plus Akkawa into my December TBR, so great. I also plan to read Capturing the Devil by Kerri Maniscalco. This is book 4 and the final book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper quartet. I love this series with my whole heart, and I've just been putting off for a year finishing it, so there is that. And then I would have said End I Darken if I hadn't started it, because that was another 5-star prediction I had to read. Oh, give me a second just to think. I think Muse of Nightmares, because I did read Strange the Dreamer at the beginning of this year, and I do want to read it soon so I don't like kind of forget what happened at the end of the book, because Jade from Jaded Reader's been like, you know, read the book as soon as you can because it's best when you have knowledge still fresh in your mind. And then we have, is there a book that you think would still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? Oh, I don't know. I'm so bad at predicting these kind of things, as you can tell from my failed 5-star prediction list. I feel like there is a chance that Muse of Nightmares could be a 5-star read. I think it's a really high possibility because I did really enjoy Strange to Dream. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars just because it was really slow in the beginning, and it wasn't until we got to Sarai's point of view that I really became invested in the book. So I do think that I'm gonna pick it. I'm gonna pick that as a possible book that could end up being a new favorite of this year. Bam, there we go. And then lastly we have you already started making reading plans for 2021? Yes. There's been a lot of videos that I wanted to create this year that I didn't have the time to do, especially because of my master's program. And so I do have plans for the books that I will be reading for certain videos. I have books that I know I want to read next year. I don't have like any solid reading plans. I don't know if you're supposed to tag anyone for this, but I'm going to tag Katie from Katie's Book Nook, Jade from The Jaded Reader, Sarah from Novel Serendipity, Becca from Becca and the Books, and Soleil from Little Reader's Corner. So yes, those are the people I'm tagging. I'm not sure if you're supposed to tag people in this video because I just randomly did it myself. If you're watching this and you want an excuse to do it as well, you can just say that you have been mentally tagged by me. I'm cool with that. And yeah, that's all for this video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like button down below. If you want to see more of me, please subscribe to my channel. And until next time, thanks a bunch. Bye.